The Pearl River, one of the largest rivers in southern China, enjoys an average annual precipitation of 1,620 millimeters and an annual runoff second only to that of the Yangtze River. It receives water from the Xinjiang River, the Beijiang River, and the Dongjiang River. Later, it branches and flows into the South China Sea. Today, the Pearl River Delta has the highest level of economic development and the largest population density in China. In the process of its growth, the construction of the Polder Embankment starting from the 10th century has been the most important milestone. The mulberry fish pond is the typical mode of agricultural production in the Pearl River Delta. And to guarantee its functioning, local people have built polder embankment systems which are composed of embankments, watercourses, and water gates. With the help of the embankments, large polders built along the Pearl River have evolved into independent land water systems. Within an embankment, the network of watercourses and water gates form a complete irrigation and water transport system. These independent land water systems were the most important economic zones of the Delta Plain in the ancient time. Since Tang and Song dynasties, with the constant improvement of the embankment systems, agriculture in the Pearl River Delta has made huge progress, leading to the births of groups of villages and cities. Among many other polder embankment systems, Sangyuanwei Polder Embankment System is the oldest and largest. Its 83.86-kilometer-long embankment is composed of hills on the north, Jizan Embankment, the main levees of the Xinjiang and Beijiang rivers, and the levee of the Ganzhou stream. Within the embankment, the 265.4 square kilometer large polder is further divided into many smaller polders, which are home to villages and townships. These large and small polders have formed the basis for the development of the Pearl River Delta. Standing on the Shiqiao Mountain, one can overlook the whole Sangyuanwei Polder Embankment System, which is dotted by polders, crisscrossed by water crosses, and enlivened by historic villages surrounded by banyans. At the center of the system, the network of watercourses serves as irrigation and drainage canals and pathways connecting the Xinjiang and Beijiang rivers. Water gates, as the control devices built on the embankment, guard the entrances of the watercourses to the outer rivers. The embankment, water gates, and water courses are the key facilities guaranteeing the functioning of the system. In the early 19th century, Shen Fu, in his famous novel 6 Chapters of a Floating Life, described the operating mechanism of embankments, watercourses, and water gates as such. Each field had a number and was surrounded by a high embankment to protect it from the tides. The dikes all had sluices and could be opened or shut with gates. If the fields were dry, the gates could be opened at high tide to irrigate them. And when they were flooded, the gates could be raised at low tide to drain. Making use of the water level difference between the Shijiang and Beijiang rivers, people could shut the water gates to stop water from entering, or open the gates to let water in or out. Depending on these 3 key components, the Sangyuanwei Polder Embankment System has performed the functions of irrigation, drainage, waterlogging prevention, flood and tide control, and ecosystem protection. These are the watercourses and water gates commonly seen in the Polder Embankment System. On the water gate, a water gauge is inscribed to help control the water level. Thanks to these water gates and gauges, the water level within the system could be precisely adjusted. This is Zhizhan Embankment, the oldest section of the Sangyuanwei Polder embankment system. In its early years, the system was mainly earth embankment. After the 17th century, the earth embankments were gradually replaced by stone levees. This is the flowing back port. In 1396, the port, often silted up, was closed up by the local people, marking the complete closing of the Sangyuanwei Polder embankment. This is Minla Water Gate, also known as one of the export ports of silk produced in southern China. The gate was first built in the mid-17th century. This is WHIS-CHINA Water Gate, a critical facility located on the eastern embankment reconstructed in the late 19th century. This is the new Longjiang Water Gate built in the 20th century. On the Grand Embankment, most of the ancient stone water gates are well preserved and functioning well. The fact that the Sangyuanwei Polder embankment system is still in good condition could be attributed to its sound management system. These are the annals of Sangyuanwei Polder embankment system compiled at different times. As vital archives of the system, they record its history and management system at different stages. In the Qing dynasty, the local government set up a special administration to manage the system. And the maintenance work and the levee patrol during flood seasons were allocated among the 14 villages within the embankment. The construction of the Sangyuanwei Polder embankment system has created vast fertile farmland in the Pearl River Delta. In Qing dynasty, local counties of Shunda and Nanhai, with thousands of hectares of farmland and hundreds of thousands of residents, had the richest soil in the Pearl River Delta and were the largest production base of grains and silk in Guangdong province. Today, there are still many historic villages and townships in this area, and they are inextricably interwoven with the embankment system. Carved by the local villagers after the 1915 flood of the Pearl River, this mark of water level records the severity of the disaster. Thanks to the embankment, the mudflaps along the Pearl River have been turned into prime farmland, and local people have been granted with land to live on. In addition, the watercourses within the embankment have provided the convenience of irrigation and water transport. However, these rich polders have also gone through numerous floods and levee failures. Despite the great difficulties, local people have managed to rebuild the embankment, restart their life, and emerge even stronger. After fighting the water for land for almost 1,000 years, the Sangyuanwei Polder embankment system has given birth to rich culture. The water god temples by the watercourses and the altars by the water gates carry people's hope for fewer floods. Bear witness to the glorious history of local people uniting and managing water to expand human welfare.